Okay, everybody, we have our next game coming up, and it is the first map, if we're not mistaken. Like, we're not 100% certain on it right now. We're jumping in this a little bit late since we finished another series. We had the HGC qualifier. It's EE going up against Puszek team. So, excelente elección. As you can see, the draft is about to finish here, so we're just going to give a brief overview. Shire is our first map, and we have a bit of a focus on the side of Puszek team going into globals with the Dehaka as a first pick even. We're currently seeing Gul'dan as the last pick, so it's basically a double front line, double back line with one healer for them. The opponent running a very similar setup, relying for the damage output heavily on the Li Ming and also Vada. With Leoric at the top lane, we have a lot of wave clear here. Top lane is probably going to be taken over by Dehaka for Puszek team. And this is a pretty solid series here. We're currently in the round of 16, so the team that moves on will fight in the quarterfinals, which are still best of 3. But this is the last qualifier for HGC 2017, so everything's on the line here. EE has still one pseudo global with a potential stage dive on ETC. We have seen a couple of mosh pits here today coming into play, but of course in Shire, having the position on the map, having the mobility is super important so that you can control both shrines and then get the dragon statue. So we're going to jump into the first game right away. Map number 1 is, as I said already, Shire. Alright everybody, I hope that you're ready because we are in for our next game. We have the round of 16 match at the HGC 2017 qualifier. The last qualifier, and it is to the left side, EE. Excelente elección. A team that nearly made it into the league already, and they are banking their hopes on this one. This is basically an all-star team right here. Cilium on Vala, Zarmany on Leoric, Gran Paquete on Rega, BKB on ETC, and Zelia on Li Ming. A lot of history on the team. Navi players, former SK members, Team Liquid players, and they are all now in the blue team here, making their way up against the Polish team, the Puszek team, with Gluhammer, Dehaka, Shipley on Gul'dan, Toulouf on Murden, Olog on Malfurion, and Uberim is playing Falstad right now. And with this, we're jumping straight into our game, and of course I'm not casting solo here today. I have Tetcher with me, and we're going to bring you the coverage here at the HGC 2017 qualifier.
And starting off with this series, we are seeing pretty much average talent for everything. Only things worth pointing out, I would say, would be the Shando's clarity coming in for Malfurion as opposed to the Moonbow. Good drag by Gluhammer, trying to get BKB. BKB is out. And the other talent is that Falstad is going for a seasoned marksman. He's going for an auto-attack build as opposed to a hammering build.
I like that a lot. I think with the setup, I've been waiting for Falstads to pick more seasoned marksmen, and oftentimes it doesn't happen because you're either trying to get the burst damage on a single target with a stun combo, or because you're saying we need the wave clear. In this particular setup right now, though, we have a lot of wave clear for them. With Gul'dan, we have also at the top lane the Dehaka, so Falstad can be focused more towards auto-attack talents, and this is going to give them in the later stages of the game a huge amount of pressure against Leoric and ETC. So I like that they make the choice. I'm still curious to see how exactly they're going to play it, if we're going to see Giant Killer on 13, if he goes full AA build with Secret Weapon on level 7, or if it's still a hybrid with Boomerang, so that's something to be seen. But he already is starting to use that global to put a massive amount of pressure on Zarmany, and they could have gotten a kill here if Gluhammer didn't miss the drag.
Yeah, very nearly Zarmany pausing the game for a bit there, but he was just jumped a little bit early on there by Falstad, just barrel rolling over the wall, just no chill, no vision, just all in to try and take down that Leoric here. Wasn't able to get him, but they do control that shrine now. But we do have a quick pause, no extra talents yet, neither team hitting their level 4, but stacking-wise, look how far Gul'dan has stacked already. He's already a quarter of the way through his level 1 talent.
Wow, 9 stacks. You're right, I didn't even see that. Very well done here. So yeah, great job by Gul'dan. And that could be a problem. If he gets really all of that damage in this fast, that could definitely be an issue. While we're talking about stacking talents, the one thing that I wanted to still point out while we were talking about the season marksman, for people that haven't really paid too much attention to the last patch, is that one of the reasons why I've been saying that I really think a lot of Falstad players will start to prioritize the talent again, it was very dominant for a while, is that Blizzard removed the stacks on Season Marksman. So even after you complete your quest with a 40 extra damage, you are continuing to get damage on it. So you can really stack that up to a huge amount, especially if it's a long game. And that really helps in this setup. Another thing that we should maybe point out for now is also that we have Wolf Run. Not sure if you talked about that already. So we don't see any kind of synergy between level 1 and 60 talents for Rhaegar with Totem, which we could see, and Muradin with the Third Wind. It was one of the great things about Muradin. You have three great talent choices on level 1, Third Wind being one of them. What we see oftentimes these days is another stacking talent, since that bit of burst damage that you get with Muradin if you stack on the Q is quite nice. And let's face it, it's also a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of players really do like to gravitate towards the talents that don't have a ceiling. That's why the old Regen Master was very, very popular. It's why the new season Marksman is very popular. It's why Groupies was so popular for a short amount of time when when ETC sort of jumped into the meta around the full Summer Global Championships.
One of the best talents if you're playing like unranked draft or quick match, if you play Stitches. Oh, we have a bit of a gank at the top lane. Yeah, that's too many heroes. Even with that, forget it. Probably the Haka saying like, come on, Falset, fly up top and help me. Falset really quickly checks how many heroes are there. So like, sorry dude, you're on your own.
Yeah, you're on your own for this one, sorry.
Yeah.
Enjoy. But yeah, which talent?
Yeah, the level 7 talent on Stitches for the Devour, so that you get the extra 2 seconds regeneration. If you end up having a really long game and you play Stitches, you can have like more than 100 like regeneration per second. It's so good. I think at some point I got it all the way up to 150 or 200. You don't die anymore. You just don't die. So
there was a hero who used to have. There is a hero who does have a huge amount of potential for infinite stacking, but you never see it because you never get the chance. And that's Zagara. The chance to increase her attack damage. So good stun onto ETC under tower. Big Heavy taking a huge amount of damage here, and he might go down. Yes, he does, thanks to that lightning rod from Uberim.
And just to elaborate quickly on that second talent on Stitches, I would not really recommend it for competitive play, guys, so don't use that in a tournament. But if you find yourself either in a quick match or in an unranked draft where there's not a lot on the line, then definitely go for it. We occasionally see it on the Stitches also in competitive, but that's more of a pro thing and it's still quite rare. So if you want to have some fun at some points with a couple of friends playing game mode where it doesn't really matter, give it a shot. On a big map that lasts for a long time, it can be a lot of fun towards the late game.
Yeah, very much so. So, level 4 talents available for both teams right now. Falset continuing with his auto-attack build with those hammer gains. And Leoric on the side of on the side of EE, going to be running those hardened bones. He wants to sustain in case he does get ganked, which has happened a couple times by now. Dahaka, standard build, one who collects.
As a solo, if you play the Haka on the solo lane, one who collects is really the talent to go for. You're not really participating in too many takedowns, so going for the hero stalker is not necessarily your best option, but that gives you a lot of sustain there, so that's totally understandable what we're seeing. Vala with the auto, with the multi-shot, but we have a big battle down here where we see the on the Ming. Yeah, the Dragon Knight has still been picked up in the mid lane though, so Grand Paquette gets at least the objective. They sacrificed Li Ming to hold that for a bit longer, but it's level 7 versus level 7. And once again, I'm repeating myself here. This is the last qualifier, and this is gonna be nasty. Whatever team is out of this qualifier will not participate in the league next year. So everything is on the line, and that actually makes a lot of these players super nervous. And EE is one of those teams that has incredible result in scrims and dominates like so many top-notch teams that are already qualified as well. But they say once that we start to play in the qualifier, something's off a little bit. Either we're unlucky or we make mistakes that we would usually not make. So they are very nervous going into this. And right now, Puszek team is giving them a run for their money.
Yeah, Puszek team continuing to try and control versus them, but with that Dragon Knight, it got a couple towers, it got what you would expect in a very even game, and that's exactly what happens to Loof, dropping the stun onto the Rhaegar here, but Rhaegar pulling back into Loof, able to sustain himself via the fountain.
So there's a few things that I also want to talk about. Skullcracker has been taken as the level 7 talent now for Muradin, so which means that not only do we have the mini stun available, but also we have him at this point with the attack speed increase. So that alone puts you in a position where if you go for something like giving the axe on 16, which I don't expect him to do here, but just mentioning that as well, you have a massive amount of damage increase on top of that. Talking about damage, wow, for a second I thought he would escape. But ETC ganked by Force falling down here. So Skullcracker, one of the talents, and another one that I feel we really need to point out is that Falset went for the full auto attack build and actually went for Secret Weapon, and not for the hybrid build where you rely on Boomerang to still blast waves away so that you have the added wave here.
I quite like that. I like he's going for the Secret Weapon player, will escape here. But I like he's going for the Secret Weapon because he is probably going to take Giant Killer later on, so any extra damage to take down these two tanks is going to be good here. Zarbali on the run right now. Gluehammer thinking about chasing, but he gets away. That was a good run.
This is the last best of 3 series today for both of these teams. So you win here and you are set. And you can really tell that there's a few nerves involved as well. Again, you have to just put yourself into into the mind of these guys for a moment. Most of them have been playing the game for 2 years or more. Like even if it's only a year, that's a huge investment of time. They have been on several teams, they have been to offline events, they've been playing there, they have qualified for so many of these national finals, and now it's all about the league next year. Of course, you can still make a play for a spot in the leagues halfway through, but you want to be there from the beginning. And not making it through the third qualifier would, of course, be absolutely heartbreaking for these guys. It's their last chance to make that happen, and if you want to be a pro player, if that's the dream that you had, this is the moment where everything counts. So one misstep, one wrong click at the wrong moment, and you are out. And that's definitely something that a lot of people don't really realize when they just watch this from at home. So there's really a lot on the line for these boys. And now we have level 10 abilities, so Tetcher. This is going to become where the team fights are going to become more important.
Yeah, but team fights with a hero down is not... Basilium's kept alive by the Ancestral. It's going to be about Furion, who's picked off via the Entomb. Toulouse gets shredded by that strafe from Cilium. And Gluehammer now just going to get himself surrounded. He'll go down too, and that's a 3-for-0. What started off as an engage onto Li Ming, it just immediately turned itself around.
That was a great Entomb there. First of all, a great Ancestral by Grandpa Kette, making sure that Li Ming did not die. Then the Entomb, locking down Malfurion, and you could see him blasted away within a second. And that was just the start of the downfall. Falstad at the top lane never joined the battle. He actually took the Shrine instead. So he went for this. Uburim here has by now, looking at his stacks, 21 extra damage. And he is starting to really get some solid auto attack damage out. Of course, it's going to increase later on when he has his quest talent completed and gets the added attack speed. But they might not be able to really capitalize on it, because now they are starting to fall farther and farther behind, with their opponent taking level 13 and another Dragon Knight.
Yeah, heroes starting to pop everywhere on the map at this point for Puszek. Really struggling. They're able to delay the Dragon Knight a little bit. Oh, sorry, they swap it for, to the Yorick instead of onto BKB. So now they're going to be pushing in this mid lane. They could also try and rotate down to bot after this if they still have enough health on the Dragon Knight to try and take the keep. And that looks like exactly what they're going to try and do. Rotate down after taking the fort and see if they can get some tier 2s.
This situation that the red team finds themselves in right now is, by the way, also one of the arguments made against going for a full auto attack build on Falstad. It's way harder for you to get the constant damage in when you are pressured, when you are behind. Whereas if you are actually under pressure and you're playing a mage build, you can just simply move a step forward, you drop a quick hammer, you explode the boomerang, and you move back again, and you just repeat that. So it's easier for you to get that damage in, whereas with the auto attack build, you expose yourself this early a lot more to being jumped on by your opponent. So this is one of the downfalls. This is where Gul'dan comes into play. He has to compensate for that, and he's doing exactly that. Talking Gul'dan. We have him at 30 stacks right now. They burst the Dragon Knight away. They haven't lost the keep yet, so they're still in this.
Yep, they're still alive. And even once they've lost that keep, if they can start the snowball back, it's going to work very well in their favor. Another pause coming in. But right now, we are just seeing an immense amount of control for EE. They're rotating around the map. They are even hovering around the enemy's Bruiser camp, thinking about whether they want to try and steal it.
Yeah, and another thing is that we have another pause. So Cilium is lagging. They're seeming to have a couple of connection issues, and if this continues today, then the only thing that I can really recommend them to do is find an internet cafe for tomorrow, because if that happens in a crucial game, then you are in a very, very bad spot. It would be, of course, the worst thing in the world if you are not qualifying for something because you have technical problems. Puszek team, on the other hand, they won 13, so you've been talking a bit about it already. They're very close to picking it up. We're having the wave that they're looking for here. There's another one coming in through the middle, so Gul'dan is most likely going to burst it away. That should be enough to bring them to 13. Taking the camp here would be a bit of a risk, but if the blue team is fast enough, if Excellent Atheon is going to take it, they can. The problem that they definitely still have is there is a Mighty Gust that pushing them into the corner could be brutal. There's also, of course, the Horrify that can be followed up. If that's hit after Twilight Dream or with the Twilight Dream properly, then you can really get the damage in. So it's one of those things where they have to be very cautious if they really want to risk it. But BKB takes the experience in the top lane. When it comes to the damage output, by the way, Falstad, despite the fact that he is still on very low stacks, has 14,000 damage, which currently is more than Gul'dan can offer here.
Yeah, Gul'dan though, like he said, with those heroics, especially if Falstad can get a good Mighty Gust, his damage is going to skyrocket. He did also at level 7 take Bound by Shadow. So he's going to be getting that corruption even more often here. So he's going to be spamming that out as much as possible, just getting everyone that he can. However, the chances of them fighting where the enemy team were quite grouped up are quite low. With ETC having that stage dive, there's a very good chance that the objective of Excelente Alession here is going to be to get into the backline.
And so far, BKB has done a really good job going to the backline. Like, the stage dives that we've seen so far were pretty much on point. I want to also point out again that Rhaegar was really one of the crucial factors in the last team fight that he won. We're seeing Grand Parquet currently at 12,000 heal, whereas Malfurion is at 18k. But now looking at the level 13 talents, this is of course the question what he's going to go for here. Normally we've seen Ice Block. We've seen a few of the players going into a life seed since they felt they need more. But with them jumping in with the stage dive, I guess we can expect the Ice Block again. As Malfurion, you are in a situation in which you need to stay alive. You want to drop your ult, but if ETC jumps on top of you or you get isolated by the Entomb on the side of Leoric, then you are, of course, one of the priority targets, and that can immediately drop you. So going for an Ice Block on 13, that helps you a lot to stay alive and allow the rest of your team to make plays to save you, namely Mighty Gust, or Horrify. All of that can really help you out if you find yourself in trouble. It's also going to be a massive talent for Falstad, and this is really what I want to see how much they can do after that hits. Because if you go into a hybrid build and you actually say, hey, we're going to go Boomerang as well on level 7 instead of Secret Weapon, even with Season Marksman, you can still go for cooldown reduction. It might not be, it depends a bit on the situation how you play it, but with this build that Falstad uses, anything else but him going into a Giant Killer would surprise me. Yes, you get the cooldown reduction to throw a Secret Weapon out a little bit more often, but the value that you simply get out of the extra damage against the front line is so strong that it would shock me if he doesn't take it, since he can just pressure all of those guys quite a bit, and that is going to significantly improve his damage output.
Completely agree. Toulouse very much thinking about trying to fight for that objective. Instead takes a full drain to the face and loses the camp. So taking a little bit of harassment. He is of course spirited. He will regen that pretty quickly. But overall, once again, Excelente Alession showing great control, and Toulouse going very aggressive. Lunia but trying to get behind Zarmley to get Cilium. Instead, he's getting turned on. Here comes the stage dive onto the Entomb though.
And Falstad barely getting out of there, going straight for a quick push. BKB slides back in. Toulouse is in trouble, jumps out but dies regardless. Everybody's low. The combo here was once again really on point. Rhaegar didn't even have to use Ancestral. There comes an attempted kill against E, but just look at that snowball. The resets Folly, Ming, Cilium dropping so much damage, and then just simply Zelia on his Ming getting one kill after another. That turned so fast. That Entomb stage dive was brilliant.
Yeah, the Entomb stage dive was just absolutely superb from Excelente Alession. And the Horrify just did not land on anyone that they could really get any worth on. So just insane damage coming out. We even have on the Leoric the Consumed Vitality. He took a lot of damage and survived thanks to the extra sustain that he got from that talent. But either way, right now, the Dragon Knight's about to be up, and EE are probably going to get it yet again.
That was absolutely, I mean, that was demoralizing. We have now 2 of the shrines activating, 3 levels behind. You have the talent disadvantage again, your opponent going Mirror Ball. The damage output, just to give you guys a bit of an idea, we have 29,000 by this time on the side of Li Ming with 25k for Vala. Just compare that to the damage output that exists on the side of the opponent pushing team. 16k on Falstad, and Gul'dan has only 14. That fight did not turn out in their favor at all. And now they have the very annoying task of trying desperately to keep that keep alive.
Yeah, Gul'dan, however, only needs 4 more heroes hit with his corruption to get that fully stacked, so that will increase his damage output pretty significantly, but he needs that to happen very quickly right now, as his base is taking some harassment. Managed to hit 0 heroes with that little set of corruption there. But the cooldown reduction he's going to get from the Fell Flame will help out. Mighty Gust is used, so they can try and focus down on Cilium and get rid of that Dragon Knight, but it's too late. The keep is gone.
The keep is gone, and Uberim actually positioning himself so that he could gust the backline, but he kept still the Dragon Knight around to drop the extra damage here. I think they might have been even a bit worried that they might go farther than that if that isn't the case. The one thing that I have to point out, though, is that they're actually doing a decent job trying to close the gap in experience and get level 16. And that's also due to Gluehammer trying to... Oh, yeah, there's the interrupt. Goodbye. Yeah. Gluehammer falling at the top. He did a good job soaking the XP, but I don't think he accounted for ETC stage diving in just simply to interrupt him while the rest of the team was moving in to confirm the kill.
Yeah, very nicely done there. So the Dahaka does go down, and EE continues their dominance. 12 kills to 3 currently in this game. But level 16 will be hit soon by Puszek team, which will at least bring them onto even talents temporarily, as excellent Alexion is rushing towards that 20.
Yeah, now we have the 16 talent any moment. They of course need to wait for the Haka. There's also no Dragonite on the map right now, so they are not rushed or anything. They know what's on this, what the stakes are. They know where they are at this point. It's like level 16 hitting, and that allows them to go into the crippling hammer even on Falstad. We don't see that all that often. The elongated tongue has been taken. We have tenacious roots. They have the tools now. They definitely have the tools to fight. If they win a team fight, this can turn. We've seen crazy games happen throughout the qualifiers where games like this were turned around. We've just seen at the Chinese tournament Dignitas holding a 6% core and winning the game on Shire. So this game is not necessarily over, but of course they need to win a big team fight if they really want to turn around. And losing the Haka right now would definitely not be how to start this.
EE have been giving Gluehammer a shocker this entire game so far, just focusing him down so hard. They get it, and the stage dive hits all four. Leaving does her thing, and they take down 3 heroes in that one engage. Just absolutely brutal by EE right now.
Entomb stage dive hits every time. And it's just like they just make their way back into it, and then this happens. Falstad is on 36 extra stacks. He's really dropping the damage. You could see how especially Leoric lost hit points so fast, but if they lose 3 heroes in the process, it doesn't matter. And now, of course, it's to go straight for the core. There's no gust anymore for Uberim. They can't do anything here. They just don't have the heroes. There's way too much damage output for the opponent. EE is taking that core easy peasy. They have their 20s as well. This is the lead in the best of 3 series for Excellent Alexion. They take it, and they win the game on Shire. The second game is going to be played on Towers of Doom, everybody. EE is facing up against Puszek team now. And of course they have the lead, so if they are able to win a second map, then they are already qualified for tomorrow's games, which would be the round of 8. We are still looking at at best of 3 matches, the semi-finals, where we're going to determine the new teams that are participating in HGC 2017. Those will be best of 5s. But right now we're going to head into the second draft. And Varian is allowed, but wasn't picked so far, which is kind of interesting, since oftentimes, of course, if you see him, you can counteract him in any kind of like Hero League environment. That's definitely working if you have a bit of more coordinated approach. But if you've seen him in some of the online tournaments, when especially TBD used him to try and stack stuns and drop targets away with, let's say, Jaina damage, for example, it worked really well for them. So personally, I would have actually expected him not being a part of every single draft, but still make it in there for certain sniper comps. But the team seemed to be very unwilling to actually commit to one of those combos. And they go with more of a traditional style, which we've also seen throughout the last 2 qualifiers. So Variant didn't have any impact on the games whatsoever, neither as a ban nor as a pick. Even though I have to say we've seen actually like a very heavy focus on maps so far today that are focusing on globals. Like we didn't see a lot of Cursed Hollow, for example, which is more of a traditional map where you can run something like this. We have seen very little Tomb of the Spider Queen when you can try to dominate a rotation, maybe with stun stacking, as we've seen in the days of Murder and Tyrande. So it was mostly about like Sky Temple, having something like Shire, in this case now Towers of Doom, so that might play a role here as well. But as it is, game number 2, Towers of Doom, Taika's first pick. We have the ban on ETC, so Tetcher, what do you think? Puszek finally having enough of that ETC jumping on the top of the head?
Yep, makes a lot of sense. The global potential is also very strong on this map. Also, in terms of map, we've seen a lot of Braxis today. Just wanted to mention that one, which is very
good
cool
point
to see. Also good for globals, though, just rotating between the beacons. But Puszek, focusing on those globals straight away with the Dahaka and the Brightwing, the ETC banned out. They have a bit more tank control, pushing EE towards either that Muradin or the Johanna. Either one of those would suit them quite nicely, unless they wanted to go down a bit more of an alternate route.
We have also the Falstad still available. So if you're trying to pick up a global, Falstad is one of the heroes that can still make that happen for you. Brightwing and Dahaka alone, of course, already a threat to jump into the backline, especially Dahaka. And Falstad would allow you to also interrupt like alters if your opponent is going for them. The one thing about Towers of Doom is that the 1st and the 5th altar wave are always 3 altars. This is where global heroes oftentimes get most of their value, but also then later on in the game you can always like split soak, especially with the Haka. And there he is, Falstad taken, makes sense. Your opponent stacks already 2 globals, you want to have at least one to try and counteract it a bit.
Yeah, very much so. Just any kind of global is good, just so you're not against all of it in one go, where you just get out-rotated and just destroyed. We have seen teams, though, play very, very well against full global teams so far during all of these games, but we will keep an eye to see. But in this case, we will have at least some contention for it. They could pick up their warrior here, Muradin or Johanna or whatever else they wanted to go for to prevent Puszek banning it out. They do pick the Muradin up here, so Puszek now likely to ban a support, I would say. Maybe an Ariel, maybe a Malfurion.
You could definitely drop the Malf here and just like ban him out. It depends a bit on what you're really worried about the most. Malf ban makes sense. I feel they could have also banned any kind of melee assassin that they definitely do not want to deal with in the setup right now. We've seen BKB already quite a bit on his Muradin. I'm not really afraid of anything happening there. Damage is probably not going to be added anymore. They will pick a second melee, I assume. And the question is rather what that is. What I'm wondering is, are we going to see something along the lines of a Tracer ban? But no, they ban out Tassadar instead. Okay, that basically does the same trick. It's a soft ban on Tracer, because with the setup that PT, the Puszek team, already has, I could have definitely seen them picking up Tracer and Tassadar. So EE shuts that down right away and says like, okay, we ban out Tassadar, then we're safe of Tracer, and if they still pick Tracer, we have a much easier time dealing with her.
Yeah, we have seen a couple of teams picking up the Tracer, though, every now and again, even without the Tassadar, like we already mentioned in one of our earlier series. One Tracer even took the leeching rounds that she has on one of her later talents, level 16 talent, so you can just get some sustain anyway. But so far, we have not seen her without Tracer, at least today. The Puszek team, they do need to pick some damage right now. They've managed to let Falstad go already, let Tigers go already. They need to start making some choices.
Yeah, they definitely have to. And we could see a Li Ming in the setup. I mean, you want to have something. We need poke. First of all, they need to have a little bit of poke here. You already have that to a certain extent in the sense of Brightwing, but you don't want to really be so far out that you have to use that with the Arcane Flare. So the Vala already allowing them to IE wave clear and to be also have a bit of a poke, especially if you're focusing on the multi-shot build where you have the extended range then later on. So you have that. They could still drop a Li Ming, any kind of like hero that has no cooldown focus would very well do with her. Could see the Gul'dan again, that's something that they can play on this map now too. And yeah, together with that, there's of course then the question, do you play a second frontline? And if so, who's it going to be? Do you invest into a Thrall and you say, okay, we're going to try and play an Earthquake around this? Or do you go into something like a Tyrael and say, hey, we have the option to Sank? But they go double support instead against the auto attackers here, which allows them to go for the Haka as the solo frontliner.
Yep, which should be fine for them. The extra healing you get from Li Ming, even if she goes to a bit more of a damage build, just any extra healing you can get out of her will help in this scenario. So, Excelente Alession, they now need to pick a support in one of their last 2 picks. Everything's pretty much open for them. They still have Ariel and Rhaegar, which is 2 still very solid options to pick, just which one they feel more preferable for them right now. I would expect probably Rhaegar, because they don't have a huge amount of stacking for Ariel, and there it is. And their last pick, like you mentioned, probably a potential for a melee.
And with the melee, now really the question which one of that's going to be. There's still Thrall around, which I like, unless they want to go in. I mean, Thrall and Alarak could go in. Oh, okay, they go for Azul. Like again, we talked about him. He's making a bit of a comeback here, and oftentimes on maps where you don't even rotate with him, but where you have him on a single lane. Zul is really one of those heroes where if you talk to teams, they are saying like they like him a lot more now, even though before they thought he was not really a good addition to the setup that they've been running. It's something that we've seen the Damascus Boys, for example, talk about. Alex has talked a bit about how he feels that Zul is starting to, like his perspective on Zul changes a bit, and he feels like he adds more to the team fights than he previously perceived him to do. So with Zul being placed down here, we have also now Illidan being used. It's an interesting setup that they have. As an only back damage only from Vala, double support, keeping the Hakan Illidan alive. Definitely running a bit of a risk here, of course. EE with very solid damage on the Falstad, on the Tychus. They have the stuns on Muradin, the Bone Prison lockdown through Zul. This is the map where really the life of Puszek team when it comes to HGC 2017, at least for now, is on the line. If they lose here, they're out of the tournament, and it's the last qualifier. EE wants to make it a 2-0 victory. Let's find out together on House of Doom if they can make it happen. The game is on, ladies and gentlemen, and it is Towers of Doom. And we have to the left side, Excellent Direction with Zarmini on Zul, Zelia on Falstad, Celium on Tychus, Grandpa Kette on the support with Rhaegar, and BKB Grunchikov on Muradin. So yeah, the face roll on the keyboard, that's where we have it. Battle.net wasn't kind to him when he created that one. To the right side, we have on the other hand the Puszek team, the Polish team with Gluhammer and Dehaka, Pshibli on Lili, we have Toulouf on Illidan, Uberim on Vala, and Olog is playing Brightwing in this game. This is the second one, and let's find out which team takes it here. Are we going to see map number 3, or will EE take it with a 2-0 victory?
Starting off at level 1, we are going to be seeing the extra damage on the Whirlwind by Lili, not going for the extra Serpent, which we sometimes see dumped onto Illidan. Zul with a strange talent, the Backlash at level 1 as opposed to Shade. It means they are going for a bit more of a burst style as opposed to a sustained fight style to try and block that Illidan. However, speaking of block, we do in fact see that talent coming in from Muradin. So it's very much built around the Illidan here, but Vala also does a lot of basic attack damage herself, so this will work for her too.
But Zul's actually going for a lot of backlash these days. I rarely see Shade actually. I think we had one today or last tournament, but besides that, I really see a massive focus on backlash for a long time now. Toulouf actually surviving this even. I thought that Muradin would try and turn around and take him on, but it's the first kill against Zul here. That was a nice move by Gluhammer, using that global mobility again, being very aggressive with it, and leaving top lane for a moment, which results in then actually missing out on a minion wave. To be absolutely honest, I think that wasn't even worth it, not even with the killers they got.
No, but they want to try and get at least another one here. Grandpa Kette getting chased down, and that tries to get him. There's the route from the Bow Prism, and he gets taken down. And Zarmini continues to push forward. He's now just going to grab at some skellies here. But like you said, the Backlash is definitely the more common talent right now. The Shade only really being picked when you're against something maybe like the Tracer or the Illidan, but deciding against it, they're more focused on the burst than the protection. Didn't work so well in the first engagement they had, but in the second engagement, once again, the Backlash wasn't required, but they were still able to lock down the kill.
I want to stress really quickly how that kill in the early game against Zul was nice, but how they lost more than an entire wave. Look at the discrepancy in experience right now. This really comes from Gluhammer leaving the top lane. And the kill was great, but they didn't get someone up to the top lane in time to soak the wave. And I think they lost a little bit more in the middle as well. So all of a sudden they find themselves behind in experience. So that early kill didn't really do anything for them, especially with the death timers being this low. Falstad flying down now. The Haka is also there. Gets immediately locked down. Whoa, they really want him. He was trying to sneak in from behind. But this is of course now the altar that both teams are going to fight over, since they both capped one each so far.
All the global heroes have arrived now. They're trying to contest it. Olog attempting to grab it is denied by the grenade from Celium, who's continuing to push forward. We're seeing Prisbly attempting to get anything here. Grandpa Kette denied, and both teams doing huge amounts of damage. Prisbly is rooted and taken out by Zarmini.
Celium, on the other hand, is in trouble. Toulouf goes deep and gets the kill, but he pays with his life for it. BKB is zoning. Uberim and Olog was actually looking to maybe get a Stormbolt in against Vala, but it was not on cooldown. So right now we have another 4 shots fired against the red team. The Haka immediately moving up to the top again, trying to get there a bit of a lead there. Falstad could fly up potentially. They need someone there. And we have at the same time now Zul starting to make his way over, since Falstad is still busy taking a camp together with Muradin and with Rhaegar.
Yeah, they'll be able to take that without too much issue. Rhaegar pretty good at taking camps on his own. The Sapper camps are a little bit strong, they can do some decent damage, so he is pretty happy for the help. Bluehammer is able to solo a camp, however, he takes out the Sappers in the top lane. Zarmini directly below him, so these mercenaries actually just going to completely miss the minion wave, and Zarmini is going to trying to clear them himself.
Now over here, BKB is double checking how Illidan is doing here, and is always moving in and out a little bit just to poke and tell him, dude, let it go. We're not gonna let you get that camp just yet. Level 7 talents would be huge, but by the way, talking huge, if Lili falls here before the fight starts, that would be massive. The drag is on though, and a great kill against Tychus. Nice moves on the side of Gluhammer again. Toulouf nearly falling, but is able to escape. A bit unlucky here for EE, but great of course for their opponent, who now is able to take another camp. But we have lanes still being pushed by Zarmini, and also Rhaegar, who escaped towards the mid lane.
Yeah, there's still XP happening in most of the lanes. Cap finally taken by Toulouf BKB. They would delay that for so long, route landing onto Prisbly here, but just force and harass. We're at Alter Phase number 2, ladies and gentlemen, in the top lane. With both areas, Gluehammer attempting to be focused down, but the teleport does save him. There's no cleanse this time. Coming in for Brightwing, it is just going to be the phase shield to help protect that Illidan.
And it also forced, of course, a global out. So Zelia is defending against this. He can still fly to the top then. Up there, we have Sprisply immediately being attacked. Nice backlash activated. They're going for it, and they should confirm the kill, and they do. In comes Dehaka from the back, but Lily is already down, and now he's the focus of attention. Uberim, well, yeah, that was a little bit cheeky, standing right next to them and saying, like, I'm gonna get this. No, he's not. But are they able to channel it through? And yes, indeed they are. Grandpa Gitter gets it. They move to the left, and they will confirm the second one. So well played by EE.
Yeah, nicely done there. Taking out the hero who did take cleanse. Like we said, with Brightwing going into the teleport, Lily, who's gone for very much a W-based build here, sorry, an E-based build, taking cleanse for her means that Brightwing didn't have to get more protection onto the Illidan, but taking her out means that there was no way they could contest. One, they were down a hero, and two, if Muradin had landed the stun, then whoever he got it on would have just been doomed.
Dehaka again all over the place. Toulouf down here tries to force the fight. Dehaka at the bot lane looking for a drag, but by now EE has really adapted quite nicely against the setup. They know how aggressive Gluehammer currently is with Dehaka, that they're always looking for the fight and they're always moving back immediately. And I wanted to talk about Skullcracker really quickly for a moment. Normally when you go for the Ironforge momentum, the idea behind it is really to give you survivability. So you of course try to get your second clap with a Thunderclap off. The healing static is the talent that you combo it off with. And then Skullcracker, sorry, the Ironforge momentum, the whole idea is to give you more claps so that you survive in big team fights more. But if you position yourself a little bit different, you can easily just drop one of these talents and go for Skullcracker instead. The attack speed is nice, you get more damage output, but the big thing is really that mini-stun that you get, and that can ruin a lot of setups. Mini-stuns at the wrong time, that can be the difference about an Illidan getting a Metamorphosis off or not, or a hero like Gluehammer's able to burrow away. So it's a talent that is a lot more popular these days, especially by Muradin players that love to be aggressive at that front line.
Very much so, but either one of these talents is going to have a little bit of trouble due to the fact that Lady has her blind and Illidan has his evasion. And that's where it comes into effect mostly, but BKB going to be doing his best either way. As like you said, as long as he can get those 3 hits off to get that mini-stun, then it could be the difference between getting kills or denying certain things. Water Dragon coming in for Lily at that level 10, going for, like we said earlier, a full damage build, just with the advantage of a little bit of extra cleanse.
Fight is about to start, and again, keep your eyes on Dehaka. That's what they have to do right now. Illidan jumps in. There's a clap on the ground immediately. They're trying to lock him down. There we have also the cleanse dropped right away since we saw the Bone Prison coming into play. Big cooldown, of course, already used. Skeleton Mage is on the ground. The Water Dragon on point, but Lily is dead as they're jumping on Illidan and try to root him down. This time there's no cleanse available, and the Bone Prison goes through, which is the end of the melee assassin.
Those skeletal mages were on point. The perfect zoning ability there being dropped by EE, and now they're going to begin to push into this bell tower, and we may see the start of the rotations, especially with the help of Zul, who's putting pressure on the mid lane. Dehaka's going to deny him a little bit, but Zul right now just putting pressure on every lane as much as he can. He's rotated up to top lane to help deal with Valor and to soak the lane up there, while his team is in fact going to go get the Mercenaries, which they may try to guide in.
Very solid game so far on the side of EE. They are currently on 36 points on the core against 20. They're looking strong here. They won the first game, of course, as is. And now we see them with camps on the map. And again, the attempt to lock a target down. They're going for Gluehammer here. Bone Prison is good on Urbareem. Not getting cleansed out. Lily saving it, but trying to counter-initiate with the Water Dragon.
Water Dragon does some huge damage. Here comes the Ancestral. It keeps Tychus alive. BKB also at half health, but he is going to be able to heal up thanks to his trait. The Mercenary is still pushing in the bot lane for EE. Dehaka is on his way down there, so it won't make it in. And we're not going to see EE guide it in there, instead heading to the top lane to grab another Mercenary camp and attempt to put some pressure onto that bell tower.
Yeah, Toulouf is also in trouble. Cleanse hits him. Good Stormbolt again against Lily. But we have now 43 heroes hit and 64 extra damage on Zelia, going for Mage build this time. So they are really starting to stack that extra damage. And if they get the Stormbolt, if they get the Bone Prison through after cleanses on cooldown, they can really try to blow these targets up fast. Bell Tower at the bot lane has been claimed, and they're about to get the one up here to the top if they commit to it. They actually let it go for now so that they can... I don't even know why, because they're feeling pressure probably that they have to take this one. They get a kill again. Alright. Kill against Uberim is ideal. And the camp is going to take the bell tower, at least it should, so they can actually delay it. The one at the bot lane has been reclaimed, but this one is definitely going to fall. So we are going to see them with potentially 10 shots against Puszek team.
Yeah, they're going to get this. There's no contestant on this bottom one. Sorry, there is no one contesting it for Puszek team here. So all of those shots go in. I'd make a hatred joke here, but Illidan, he's got enough on his plate right now.
He definitely does. Running circles around the bell tower and starting to attack that right away. But this is the problem that you have. You're chasing bell towers. Your opponent has taken one already at the top lane. You kind of need to defend it, but in the meantime, they just 5-man your bot lane. So you lose the one at the bot. Now you have 2 that you have to reclaim. You're focusing on one of them, but they're of course just rotating against you once more. If you only defend with one, you run the risk of that hero being locked down and being eliminated. So they're just like running around trying to react. They're never in a position where they can actually take the initiative. They're soon going to be behind in the talent. And there's a trap being set up. It's just a trap. And vision has not even been granted. Gluehammer is in. If that fight is lost, Puszek team is going to lose this game.
Yeah, so Mages would drop in good position. Gluehammer focus down. He goes down here. Water Dragon will catch Zarbly, but BKB jumps through it, jumps past it here. So now Frisbee is being focused down. Toulouse jumping into the back line, but the Draken lasers here. Here comes the root. No, he will metamorphosis out. Oh, no,
really well done. Lily, on the other hand, nearly falling to the bell tower. If someone would have followed there, she would have been dead, but they were hoping for Illidan. So the fight is lost, 16 soon, and here's the problem. All bell towers are going to be gone. That's not only a disaster when those altars spawn, but the barrage has started. It's not going to be a lot because at the top lane it's going to be reclaimed. But guess what? They can move in there. They can first of all get boss easily, and then they can go in and try and take that. Mirrodin is even double checking. Is the opponent moving in? Do we go for the team fight? They easily can. They have level 16 talents.
They did, however, just take a big chunk of damage from that boss. So if there was a time to move in, it was there for Puszek. But they choose not to. They decide instead to just zone it out and prevent the boss and take that, especially, which is good timing for them, considering that the altars are now spawning, and this could be their opportunity to try and at least grab something. But they have to grab at least 2. Due to the fact that if they don't, unless the Haka can get that bot bell tower very quickly, they're going to lose. Looks like the Haka will get it in time here, though.
Yeah, the Hakas, but still, this can be potentially the end of it. Good Mighty Gust there. Bell tower at the bot lane has been reclaimed, so they're not going to lose it immediately. It's going to be 3 shots fired, by the way. Bell tower, 5 shots. That's the first 5. Can they get the next one? They just need to interrupt there. Oh, and there it is. All right, so we are still waiting for the last one to be channeled. 4 points on the core. This is the team fight that can decide it all. Talent disadvantage. Illidan goes in. Kill against Lily. Not confirmed. Toulouse moving back. Gluehammer on the run. Everybody trying to escape. There is no escape. There's the B-step. Just saying, okay, boys, it's over. We know it. You know it too. 11 versus 3 kills. Make it 12. Make it 13. And the last channel, thanks to Zool. GG's, well played, as we have Team EE move to the quarterfinals with a 2-0 victory over Team Puszek.